September 20th, 2022. Ermanni and Edwards, Woodward Sports Network. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, I should say. Woodward Sports Network. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards will be along momentarily.
How about Ermanni Edwards and Maz? Isn't that easier?
I like it.
Isn't that easier?
I like it. Tom,
What do I have to be with for?
Tom, I don't know. I don't make the rules. Okay? I don't do anything.
Do I got to get Drew on this?
I don't do anything about the show name. I don't do anything about the show graphics.
It's okay, man.
My name happens to be what my name is. Braylon's, yours. It is what it is.
I love you, man.
It's a Tuesday. I got enough people barking down my neck at home. I don't need you to start doing it
I'm
too,
not,
okay?
man. You know that. You know that.
Thank you very much. Hey, hope you're joining us. WoodwardSports.com. Thanks so much. Got a big show for you today. A lot going on. This is just that time of the year, Maz, where sports is just kind of lining up. Everything's lining up for us, and we even mix in a little bit of Tigers news today. Scott Harris going to be named and announced the next the next president of baseball operations for the Detroit Tigers. Not really sure how that differs. Will he hire a general manager, or will that be him? We'll find out later today at some point during our show. We'll talk to Lynn Henning, the longtime baseball writer, longtime sports columnist for the Detroit News. We'll do that in hour number 2 of the program. So much to like about Scott Harris, Maz. I can't tell you a thing about him other than he's got a really darn good pedigree, and he's a young guy that seems like he's had a hell of an experience so far in this business.
Hell yeah, man. He's come up good, and he brought those Giants over, what they have, 105, 106 wins?
107 wins
107
in 2021.
wins 2021. Not bad. This year, a little bit down. But you know what? They don't go out and spend the money like the Dodgers do. They kind of build it like the Cardinals do, like the Tampa Bay Rays do. And, of course, they had all that success back in the 06. Every other year they would win the freaking World Series. They'd be there. Now, I know he wasn't there for all of that, but here's a guy that was under Theo Epstein, Jed Hoyer.
7 years
with
for the Cubs and won a World Series.
That's good pedigree, man.
So he's 35 years old. He's got 3 years with the San Francisco Giants as their general manager, and 7 freaking years under Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer.
Yeah.
What was this guy, 14 years old when he worked for the Cubs? How do you get that job
It's unreal.
at that age?
It's unreal. Columbia is his school up in New York, Ivy League. Very smart guy. Lynn Henning will tell us about him. But this kid was 13 years old when Dave Dombrowski and Al Avila took over this Tigers club and made them into the team that they became from 06 to 2014.
And I think the only reason we're really talking about his age is because we're jealous, right? I mean,
he's good looking, dresses well.
This guy,
he looks like he is it.
I mean, this guy is as picture perfect as it comes. Can you imagine 35 years old to be the president of baseball operations for the Detroit Tigers? I mean, that's not to even say at 31, 32 years old, you're the general manager of the San Francisco freaking Giants?
Now listen, remember what Lynn said, and been reading him over the weeks. He's like, this job is a plum job. This is a primo job. Now, you on the outside, you're looking at it, and you're like, the Detroit Tigers are a good job?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't think that it would be a job that he would leave the San Francisco Giants to come here for it. But you know what? I'm happy. I'm excited. And he's got a lot of work to do. It's a pile of junk he's got to sort through.
No doubt. Look, he's got experience. I could only do so much homework on a guy. We'll see what happens when he gets here. It looks like, it appears to be a home run hire by every account. And I'll just take people's words for it that are a lot smarter than me. But I like who he's worked with. I like the organizations he's worked with. I like the success he's had. He's got experience in player development, in scouting, in analytics. I mean, what more could you possibly want in a general manager? So we'll talk to Lynn Henning about that in hour number 2 of the program. I wanted to
I got Rogelio down there covering it for us.
Great, 2:30 I think
from
it
Woodward
is.
Tigers. He'll be covering it from the Tiger room down there at Comerica Park, and who knows, he might be able to grab somebody for us.
We'll talk Lions for sure today. They are tied now with the Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, and Green Bay Packers atop the NFC North Division, baby. All 4 teams tied for first. or last, depending upon which way
I
you
think
look
the Lions
at it.
are actually in first. Don't they have the most points scored?
They have the best point differential. I don't know
That puts them
how
first.
that works. I guess
That puts
you'd
them
say
first.
that.
Take a picture of the standings today, folks, because that's what we want to see in a few weeks. Keep it going.
So I'll go there right away. Last night's Monday Night Football game with Minnesota and Philadelphia. Don't tell me you didn't feel better about the Lions' loss to the Eagles after watching last night's game against the Vikings.
Hell yeah.
Now, I know you can take into account a lot of things. Philadelphia was at home. Monday Night Football, home opener. Minnesota going on the road. But Philadelphia handed it to them. That game was not as close as the final score indicated, 24-7. Darius Slay shut down Justin Jefferson. Wow. Those defensive linemen got after Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is like a sitting duck back there. I think Kirk Cousins may have led the team in rushing last night as well.
What happened to Dalvin Cook?
Again, it makes you feel a little bit better, doesn't it, about the way the Lions lost to Philadelphia.
The Lions ran the ball down their throat.
And I'm telling you, and maybe I'm one of the sickos that just want to see what I want to see. But whereas 2 weeks ago, you almost looked at this schedule and said, man, that's an automatic loss at Minnesota when the Lions play them. It doesn't look so automatic now.
Here we go.
Does it? It doesn't look so automatic now. I'm not saying they're going to go to Minneapolis and win, but what I am telling you is that just doesn't seem like a slam the door shut Buffalo Bills type automatic loss.
They played the Vikings twice last year, played them hard, could have swept that series, got the last one for their first win of the year. That was what Mike Zimmer. They could not, the Vikings couldn't close the door. They lost so many leads. They gave up the most scores at the end of each half. The first half, they couldn't keep you off the board at the end. And, of course, at the end of games, they couldn't keep you from beating them. So it's a team that the Lions can play with, and the Lions are better now. Yeah, sure. The Vikings might be a little bit tighter than they were last year, and Zimmer's not there, and Kevin O'Connell is, but they're a different type of team now. I think the Lions can hang with them. Matter of fact, the spread started, right, at 7.5 before the Monday night game went off last night. It dropped to 6.5, and then it went off the board when the Vikings were getting their head handed to them. So it was off the board as of yesterday. I'm sure it's on again now. It's got to be 6.5. That's not an insurmountable mountain for the Lions to climb.
Before we talk about the Lions and Vikings, I do want to ask you, Matt, just about the two Monday night games.
Yeah.
Look, the more football, the better. But I did have a hard time watching both games, going back and forth. The first game was a blowout. You almost felt like you could turn that one off and then focus exclusively on the Vikings and the Eagles. But I don't know if two Monday Night Football games work.
I liked it. I love the 7 o'clock start, the 7:15 start. I like the pregame. You got Chris Berman. They had the fastest 3 minutes before the games. I enjoyed it. And then once that first quarter ended, I wanted to see Joe and Troy's open. I did that. I watched most of the Viking game. But I had one eye on the other one because of fantasy football. Now, you don't play a lot of fantasy football.
Yeah.
For us fantasy football guys, you're on both games equally because you got to see, is Diggs scoring? How about Knox? Is he scoring? How many is Josh Allen getting? How about the King, Derrick Henry? He had 5 carries for 10 yards at one point in the third quarter. And then Malik Willis entered the game. Andrew Jonah and Nick Leach hit me up. Mass, look who's in the game.
Justin
I
flipped
it back, flipped it over. Malik Willis is in the game. He got his head handed to him, but he was in the game nonetheless. I think the Titans have put the white flag up already.
Well, we said, Braylon, and we said, look, it could be week 5 before Ryan Tannehill gets out. That Titans team could start 0-4, and then you don't know what's going to happen. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Appreciate you, man. A lot of charity outings for charity events, man. I just left one for cancer, Group La Fontaine. We'll talk about that later. But jumping into right where you guys were, you wonder why they got rid of A.J. Brown. You see Harold Landry III. He gets injured going into Harold Landry II. He gets injured. He's their best defensive player. You start to wonder about this team. Are they tanking already? They draft Malik Willis, but then you hear Ryan Tannehill. He was very upset with Malik Willis getting drafted. You heard the comments that he made. They were in a rut before the season even began, and then it doesn't help that they opened up the season and lose to the Giants. So you knew they were going to be a bad team. They're playing against the Bills. You know what? You said it. You called Malik Willis is going to be the guy, maybe week 4, maybe week 5. Well, Ryan Ermanni, it's week 2, and he was already in there. So Tennessee Titans, they are now a dumpster fire, man. And it's crazy because just last year, they were the number 1 seed. Yeah. And guess what? Their coach was the NFL Coach of the Year.
You called it, Bray. You said Buffalo will put their foot on their throat and close it. And I played against you. I took the Titans and I took the Eagles in a parlay yesterday. And then I bet Diggs to score. I bet Jefferson to score. I bet Josh Allen over 40 yards rushing. And I bet Devontae Smith over 40 yards in reception. So I did not win my bet. And quickly I saw this Buffalo Bills team, Ryan, you brought it up. They could go undefeated.
I was just going there, guys.
They could go undefeated.
That's exactly what I wanted to ask you as we head to break here. There's a lot of football to be played.
It's a lot.
And it's almost unheard of to start talking about in week 1 or week 2. But I'm going to put it to you again, guys. I can't remember a team as talented and as hungry. Just it seems like the perfect storm. I'm gonna ask you guys again. Over under 15 and a half for the Buffalo Bills. Can they go 17-0, 16-1? I want to ask you that about Buffalo. How dominant can they be? And then we'll get into the Lions. And then I got something for you again, Michigan State fan. You are the gift that keeps on giving. Yes, I'll tell you that. I love you guys so much. You're so cute. But first, a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts, have been for over 90 years. You see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 local monitoring. Make sure what is important to you stays safe. Call that number right now, 1-800-STAY-OUT. That number again, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. We will be right back. WoodwardSports.com.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward.
All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports.
Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Hey everybody, for a limited time only all the burgers and loaded fries are at Big Boy. That's right. Get them. The all new Slim Jim. It's now the Big Jim. How about the chili cheese? What a tease that is. And what else is new? It's the Bacon Blue. Those burgers are smelling and looking good. How about upgrading those fries? Get some chili cheese fries, some nacho fries, or some baked potato fries. Satisfy all your taste buds at Big Boy.
Welcome back, WoodwardSports.com. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. We got Fletch, we got JB, Jeremy Bryant in the house as well. Thanks for making us part of your day wherever or however you may be consuming Woodward Sports. We certainly appreciate that. Check out woodwardsports.com. Watch us live or anytime you want. Also great blogs on that site as well. So much new content. woodwardsports.com. I want to stick with last night's Monday Night Football game for a little while. There were a couple of them, but I just wanted to start with the Bills because I want to go deeper on the other game and what it means moving forward. But Buffalo, 41-7 winners over the Tennessee Titans. Just completely ran them out of the field, ran them off the field. Braylon, you called that one. Stephon Diggs, 3 touchdowns, 12 receptions, 148 yards. Josh Allen, 4 touchdown passes. This team, it just feels like they're not going to lose. It feels like they are the most unbeatable team currently in the National Football League. And for a number of different reasons, sure, they have talent. There's a lot of talented teams in the NFL, but I just think it's also the perfect storm of emotion leading from last year's loss to Kansas City in the AFC playoffs to getting Von Miller in the offseason. I think that just gives your team a jolt and gives you not only a jolt on the field, but an attitude on and off the field as well. You've got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, who is, Dan Orlovsky called them, Braylon, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, the best quarterback wide receiver duo currently in the NFL.
I've been telling you guys about Stephon Diggs for a minute now, Maz. I mean, you knew about him, but I took it to that next level. I said he could be wide receiver 1C if you want to go with Cooper Kupp, if that's what you guys like. Me, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Those guys are hungry. Ryan, who did they lose in the playoffs to last year?
Kansas City.
Who did they lose in the playoffs to the year before that?
Kansas City.
They are tired of losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. They are tired of being that good, but coming up just a little bit short. I told you going back to last year, Sean McDermott last year, he was upset going forward on 4th and 1 and not getting it against the Tennessee Titans. Told you he was going to get his payback. This is about the Buffalo Bills and nobody else. Stephon Diggs is a guy that plays angry. And, man, do you see it on that field. They are just equipped at every position. Adding Von Miller to the defensive line, it did nothing but turn those guys that were already a really good defense and a really good defensive line. Keep in mind, they were the #1 defense statistically in the NFL last year. Now you have Von Miller, who helps out on that D-line, has given them a new identity. They have the best secondary in terms of safeties in the NFL. Poyer, Micah Hyde. Their best cornerback hasn't even played yet, by the way, Tre'Davious White. And then you look on the offensive side of the ball, Josh Allen is so efficient. Ken Dorsey is able to come in as offensive coordinator in year 1 and picked up right where Brian Daboll left off and actually might be even better. Like, they just look like a team on a mission. Ryan Ermanni, you hit it on the head. You said this team, 15.5. Could they be, and this was last week you said that, could they be a team that overachieves that? Could they go undefeated? Could they get 16-1? And I said it's only going to come down to the Chiefs, and it's going to come down to the Miami Dolphins. This team is primed and poised to take that next step, which is getting to the Super Bowl and not just getting there, winning.
They played without Gabriel Davis. That's their
super. You love Gabriel
I
Davis.
do. That was their star against the Chiefs. 4 touchdowns in that AFC Championship game. Now, Bray, I'm going to ask you as a receiver, is Diggs better without him? Because it sure looked like it last night. I mean, he was playing with house money, man. He was open. The minute he got on the field, he was open already.
Yeah, you're 100% right. He was open the minute he got on the field. But it's one of those things when you're that elite and you play in an offensive system, when you play in a system where they're primed to get you the ball, they're primed to understand how and ways to get you open. And then you have Josh Allen. People are scared of Josh Allen. It's the same thing when Lamar Jackson was healthy, or even now. When you look at Lamar Jackson, you come to the line of scrimmage, you're like, all right, cool. Is he going to run the ball? Is he going to RPO? Is he going to hand off? If you pass it, you're so tight on that a lot of times. You can't account for a guy that's already as good as Stephon Diggs, especially if he's that good, and you're worrying about all the aspects of the quarterback. That is Josh Allen. That team is special, not to mention Knox, who got paid in the offseason as well at the tight end position. This team, and then they have Crowder, and then they have McKenzie. They got guys that can fill in while Gabriel Davis is figuring out Crowder's a damn good wide receiver. So it's going to be interesting to see how they moving forward, because they're on a mission right now, and I think that coin flip, and we've talked about it, you and I have gone back and forth about the coin flip. That coin flip in that game, I think it did something to the psyche that is the Buffalo Bills, because they're making everybody pay for it.
It ain't going to come down to a coin flip for them this year. They're going to make sure that their best running back is their quarterback.
Yeah.
Same with Baltimore. both those teams have a flaw, and it's the running game. I mean, you
And that's when you got to be a little bit nervous. Am I right, man?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. That's their one Achilles heel. That's it.
Because if you keep running the ball, you keep running the ball with Josh Allen, you keep
He's gonna get
designing
hurt.
runs. You keep designing runs for him, and as he gets comfortable, when things break down a little bit, which it just doesn't seem like their offense breaks down. But if it breaks down, he's going to take off more and more, and you just cringe if you're the Buffalo Bills. If you're Bills Mafia, you got to cringe every time he takes a step, because if he goes down, I mean, look, Case Keenum's a good quarterback.
Hell yeah.
I mean, Case Keenum did get the Minnesota Vikings
Yeah.
to the NFC Championship. Case Keenum ain't no Josh Allen.
No, nobody is.
Maz, reach out to Scotty G.
Yeah.
See if you can get a number on the Bills going 17-0.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
You got it.
I'm just curious. I see this from back in July. Max Mayer tweets out that at Caesars Sportsbook, the bets taken at Caesars Sportsbook to finish with a 17-0 record. The Bills there were 19 bets where the Bills would go undefeated at 35-1, meaning if you bet 100, you win 3,500. The rest of the NFL, they took 14 bets. So as of July 15th, there were 33 bets placed at Caesars Sportsbook of teams to go undefeated. 19 for the Bills, 14 on the rest of the NFL.
What do you think? If I had to put odds on it right now, they wouldn't be that extraordinary. They would not be exorbitant.
That's what I'm saying. 35-1 is not that high, and that was back in July. So I assume it's less.
Yeah,
now,
I'd say it's 20-1 maybe.
Yeah, 20-1,
Max.
25-1.
You know what, Ryan?
Something like that.
Here you go. In the next 4 weeks, you'll know if your team, the Buffalo Bills, will have the option of going undefeated. In the next 4 weeks, Maz, next week they play the Dolphins, who I love the Dolphins.
Always a tough game.
Always a tough game. And now you add Tua's getting comfortable.
They're locked in.
Tua's getting comfortable. Tyreek Hill's getting behind coverage. Jalen Waddle, you see, they're locked in.
Two good running backs. Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert.
And the defense didn't show much, but it is Lamar Jackson. Speaking of Lamar Jackson, that next week they play Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Then they play a cupcake game, and then they play the Chiefs. So in the next 4 weeks, Ryan, you will have your answer to how good the Buffalo Bills are. Dolphins, Ravens, give me a pass, and then the Chiefs. You'll have your answer.
Wow.
No doubt about
Now's
it.
the time to bet them.
Can I just and I like to see it just because it's something different that we have not seen. I mean, obviously in 2007 we saw the Patriots do it, but of course they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. Yeah. So say what you want about that. I would like to see it just to see something we haven't seen in a while, just on the other side of things. Just to touch on Tennessee briefly for like 60 seconds. It is crazy how a team can just go down the tubes. I mean, Hassan Haskins led him in rushing last night.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. AJ, you ship off AJ Brown. I mean, he's like the best. He's wide receiver 1 in the NFL, or 1B, 1A, however you want to.
He's in the conversation.
He's in the conversation.
Yeah, he's in the conversation.
Like, how you just do that? How you're so good for a sustainable amount of time, and then you just go down. I mean, that's a team that clearly is not in it anymore.
Ryan, if you look at it, if you look at the Tennessee Titans over the last couple of years, how their schedule is constructed, not necessarily the hardest schedule that they have been playing. I know they played the Bills last year. Their defense has been playing really good for them. You look at Byard as a safety. You look at Harold Landry, who was there. Harold Landry played huge in that game last year against the Buffalo Bills. I believe he had 2 sacks. You look at Simmons. You look how good they were on the defense. They no longer have Harold Landry, the callous of that defense. Then you look at the offensive side of things. Last year, even though they were number 1, couldn't get the ball to Julio Jones. A.J. Brown, he's in, he's out. A.J. Brown didn't have a Pro Bowl year last year. That's another reason why they didn't want to pay him. A.J. Brown was injured. So you look at it from that standpoint, you're like, these guys are hanging on and winning games by a thread, and then they happen to be the number 1 seed. But those guys have been faltering every year. If you pet Maz in my line, look at the playoffs last year. Look at the playoffs the year before that. Look at the playoffs the year before that. They never followed through in the playoffs. So I think they've been kind of doing this for a while, and it's one of those things where you got the paper mache up outside, and you're holding on by a thread, and finally the paper mache drops and everything comes crumbling down.
I think the Landry injury, it was a lot worse to them than we had even expected.
Yeah.
I think it really broke them. I mean, they gave up 41 points, and the Bills took their foot off the gas midway through the third quarter.
In case Keenum finished the game.
Yeah. They could have put 60 up.
Guys, what about last night's second game, which was the main game, I would say? They had the A-Team on ESPN. It was the Minnesota Vikings and Philadelphia Eagles, two teams that so many people believe will be playoff teams, at the very least playoff teams, let alone division winners. What did you make of that game, and was there anything you could deduce from the Lions' loss to Philadelphia to the way Philadelphia just laid it on Minnesota? And have you ever seen a more boring second half? No points scored in that second half. My goodness. You should be able to challenge that, too. I want to ask you guys about these stupid flags.
Scotty G found our odds for the Buffalo Bills.
We'll have that for you next. But first, a message from Gypsy Vodka.
Summer is over, but guess what? The Mulligan is still here. Introducing the Mulligan by Gypsy Vodka. 8% alcohol seltzer, and it is smooth, but it is 8%. So you got to be careful with it. 3 flavors: iced tea, lemonade, mango. Very good, very smooth. And oh, by the way, Adam and Mike are Michigan guys. Got to support Michigan distillers out of Petoskey. Michigan State guys. That's right, Michigan State. You got something right with the Mulligan by Gypsy Vodka. If you're going to drink, remember to drink responsibly at all times.
Detroit's downtown summer playground is back. Open all summer long, the Monroe Street Midway. Enjoy roller skating, free Wi-Fi, food trucks, art installations, and so much more. Don't forget to take advantage of the basketball court, putt-putt, and, of course, family programming all summer long. All art installations are done by Detroit artists, and it's a fun, safe event from people 1 to 100. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
You have an opinion?
Make sure it's seen and heard.
Corner, jumper.
Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Hey everybody, and it's Maz for the Academy of Warren, and if you are interested in expanding your career and making a difference in your community, Academy of Warren is the place for you. It's the place for professionals that have a passion for working with students in the K-8 department and more. For more information on how to apply, give them a call, 586-552-8010, or visit academyofwarren.net.
Welcome in, WoodwardSports.com. Everybody in the Woodward Sports chat, we certainly appreciate you for doing that right now. Juices Go, Steven, Mike, Wolva Lion, E-Fog, all you guys in there.
DJ
Mike G,
Tom T is
Honolulu
there.
Blue, DJ Tom T.
He said fire.
WoodwardSports.com, everybody. Check out the all-new site. You can buy Woodward Sports gear on there as well. We certainly invite you to do some of that. Braylon, last night, 24/7, it was the Philadelphia Eagles just completely dominating the Minnesota Vikings.
Completely dominated the Minnesota Vikings, and they didn't have to do much in the second half. I know much is made about neither team scoring. Obviously, it's more for the Vikings than the Eagles because they control the clock, they control the tempo of the game, and frankly they control the game. You know, I got to take a step back and just talk about Jalen Hurts for a second. 26 of 31,
Ridiculous.
331 yards. He had an interception, had a touchdown. He had 51 rushing yards. He had 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns, he bullied his way into the end zone. And I'm not talking about one guy like Josh Allen did against Bobby Wagner. I'm talking about 3-4 guys. Excuse me, sir, you're a little bit too small. Let me get by you and let me stretch this ball and put it in the end zone. But you got to go back to college. So many people wrote Jalen Hurts off. So many people, you know what they don't do, Ryan and Mike? People don't do their homework. People hear a narrative by people that, you know, may not have played or may have played, doesn't matter. They hear a narrative, people don't do their homework, and now they say, yeah, you know, Jalen, yeah, he's not the guy for the Philadelphia Eagles, or, you know, he's not an NFL quarterback. Look how he had to get replaced at Alabama, and they don't do the legwork. Look, you're talking about a guy, how did he get to Alabama, first of all? Nick Saban believed enough that this guy could be quarterback, correct? Mm-hmm. Brings him into Alabama. He is the quarterback for Alabama. They get to the national championship. They get to the national championship, and then they lose, all right? Or then they win one, then they lose. Then the next year, you come back. gets back to the national championship game. Tua has to come in, win the game. What happens the following year? He stays on the team, backs Tua up. But when they get in trouble, when Tua gets injured against Georgia, who got them to the national championship? It was Jalen Hurts. The next year, he leaves Alabama. He goes to Oklahoma. Where does Oklahoma go? They go to the playoffs. Talking about a guy who's been to the playoffs 4 times. Then he gets in the NFL, and it's like, well, they're winning in spite of, and he makes it to the playoffs. Well, yeah, they made it to the playoffs. When are you guys going to understand this guy wins? This guy understands how to win. This guy is resilient. And this guy is listening to everything that people say. Like, no, you can't be the quarterback at Alabama. No, you can't win the national championship. No, you can't be a starting quarterback in the NFL. At some point, guys either break or they get stronger, and that's what you're seeing from Jalen Hurts. He's getting stronger and stronger, but they're making it easy for him. Last year, Ryan, Ermanni, and Maz, they had the #1 rushing attack in the NFL. That makes the job easier for him. He's a running quarterback that can pass. But you know what was impressive about the game yesterday? It wasn't the rushing that he did. It wasn't bullying himself into the end zone. It was the precision pass. Like last night, I saw him
the deep ball.
100% the deep ball, but not even just that. He was fitting third down passes and conversion in tight windows. Like some of those passes that he hit Devontae Smith on. Oh, by the way, there was a Devontae Smith sighting because the damn sure wasn't one when he was at Ford Field. There was a Devontae Smith sighting. He was fitting balls in tight windows, pause, and Dallas Goedert made his appearance. That's why they got rid of Zach Ertz last year. It's because they believed in Dallas Goedert. Now he's here. Now he's balling. That team is predicated to win the Super Bowl, or at least, let me take a step back, that team is predicated to come out of the NFC because the NFC looks very shaky, and the Philadelphia Eagles look darn good, and it's because of that man, Jalen Hurts.
To me, they're the heavy favorite in the NFC right now, and it's not even close. I think I'm very impressed with them, and I'll tell you, Jalen Hurts, what'd they get him, second or third round?
Second round.
Second round, man. Here's a guy that, like you said, loses his job to Tua, goes over, does what he has to do, comes here, gets his first rookie contract, and he invests every single penny of it. Like, the kid is so smart. He's got a great head on his shoulders, and this team has embraced him. It's almost like San Francisco with Jimmy G. Did you see the love that Jimmy G was getting on Sunday? It's like they were so happy that he's playing for them. This kid, Jalen Hurts, he can own the city of Philadelphia.
And that's a tough city to own. That is a tough city to own. Maz, you would know more about that than I have.
Oh, yeah. They're great sports fans.
But they are
they're tough.
They're very vicious.
They are.
And they can turn on you quickly. I mean, they could go 17-0, lose their first playoff game, and Jalen Hurts will suck, and we need a new quarterback.
You're not lying.
I mean, that's just the way
that's
it is.
all of us, man.
I think what impressed me the most from him last night was that deep ball, that deep touchdown pass.
To Quez Watkins.
Yeah. Thank you. I was like, I didn't realize Sammy Watkins played for
Quez Watkins.
Yeah. Sammy Watkins did have a sighting on Sunday.
Yeah.
He did all right on Sunday.
we can talk about that when we go around the NFL. It's Green Bay and that. But the other side of the ball, Ryan, is the Vikings. And everybody wants to make, what did you learn about the Vikings? What do you see? Everybody was stroking their ego a little bit, for lack of a better phrase, stroking their ego a little bit last week, Kevin O'Connell, me included. What did you see? Well, you see what you've seen more of for the last couple of years. Kirk Cousins is not like the bright lights. Kirk Cousins is not bright. But besides Kirk Cousins, obviously he threw the ball to our man Darius Slay. You called it, Maz. You asked about Darius Slay versus Justin Jefferson. I was wrong about that. Darius Slay definitely won that battle.
Wow.
2 interceptions. I mean, Kirk Cousins just throwing him the ball. But the watching that game, 2 things got to happen, man. Kirk Cousins, you got to slow down. Kirk Cousins, you got to slow down, man. When he gets excited, man, you see it. You can just feel it coming when Kirk Cousins gets excited. It's like, oh, man, here comes the interception. Oh, man, here comes a fumble. Here comes a BS play. The other side of that, when Minnesota was at their best previous to Kevin O'Connell, it was running the ball with Dalvin Cook. They don't even look like they can run the ball. Now, I know he had 90 yards in the first game of the season, but the way in which they try to run and get packaged for him, it doesn't look like a short fit, and it's only a matter of time before Dalvin Cook is doing what, man? Scrubbing his social, clearing out his social, and asking to be traded. They got to figure out a way to get Dalvin Cook involved with this offense, because you got a good defense. Like, that's a darn good team in the Philadelphia Eagles on offense. You got a good defense with Danielle Hunter. You got a good defense with Darius Smith. You got to figure out ways to get Dalvin Cook the football.
Can I just spin this to the Lions for a second? Darius Slay.
That's why Matt Patricia was trending today, by the way.
Makes me sick to my stomach.
They got a 3rd and a 5th for him.
Give me a freaking break.
Yeah, he wasn't good enough to play for Matt Patricia, though.
Give me a break, you.
But again, so decisions like that, that's what gets you fired, though. Yeah. Right? I mean, we could say...
Who cares? He ruined us.
I understand. He sent you back. But it's decisions like that that do ultimately get you fired. Like, it's the reason why Bob Quinn is out of a job. It's the reason why Matt Patricia is out of a job. It's because they couldn't evaluate talent, clearly, and they couldn't coach talent, and they were just flat-out pricks.
Pricks, that's it. Absolutely.
And there's probably a much stronger word I could use for that, but I think we all agree that we're going to try to keep things a lot cleaner than what they do, those low lifes in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way,
I'm just kidding, Jeff, we love you, but that Adam Beydoun is a friggin' low life, swearing, curse word swearing person, all these F-bombs that he's dropping, but he's getting better. I love you, Beydoun. I'm just having fun with you.
Beydoun says Hurts will be out of the NFL in 2024, by the way.
I mean, yeah, but
I love it. That's so funny. Beydoun, you're okay, man. You're my guy,
awesome.
buddy.
He'll be out there in the NFL.
I love him.
Tua Tagovailoa is mid. Yeah, that's what those guys say. But let's ask a real question. Here's a serious question. The year before Darius Slay got traded, did he make the Pro Bowl? I don't believe he did.
Can't remember.
I don't think he did.
I'd have to look it up.
But here's the question. This is why I asked the question. If Darius Slay hadn't had, because he was All-Pro last year. I think he was All-Pro. Yeah, was he first team or second team? I know he was All-Pro for sure. Whatever team, and he's looking good now. You look at this NFL nowadays, okay? You look at getting picks for players. A 3rd and a 5th for a player in this NFL, it's on the right team. That's a solid investment. You've seen the type of guys that are balling in the 3rd round and the 5th round to have the immediate impact in the NFL. A 3rd and a 5th, that's not technically bad. It's just how they got rid of Darius Slay. Because you look at the 3rd and 5th, like 3rd and 5th, you can get some pretty good players. 2 of those.
What'd they get for Diggs? I don't think.
A bucket of jelly beans?
Yeah. What'd they get for Golden Tate? 5th round pick.
A Notre Dame #1 head fan.
Guys, you're going to hear from Dan Campbell about what the win means. And where does this go forward from here? Where do you think the Detroit Lions trajectory is now after 2 weeks? Has it changed for either of you? Maz, you said 8 wins. Braylon, you said 6 wins, I believe, or 5 wins,
7,
5 or 6 in your official predictions.
6.
6 on your official ones. Does the trajectory change a little bit? Thank you for watching on WoodwardSports.com. Use the Woodward Sports Chat. We'll get right back to you, but first a message from Swish.
There is nothing better on game day than a rockin' tailgate. With all the fun comes responsibility too. Host liability is an important coverage when hosting high school, college, and NFL tailgates. Let Mark and Swiss Insurance cover you. You see the fight last week against the week before that, the Lions outside. Everybody's getting it in at the tailgates. They're fighting, they're scrapping, they're drinking, they're doing whatever. Guess what? You got to have some coverage. You got to be protected. If you're protected, you'll be A-OK. Let Swiss Insurance Group and Mark protect and cover you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups.
Detroit fans were there.
4 World Series wins.
Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, EEM, if you'd like to put it like that as well. Fletch and JB, Jeremy Bryant in the house with us as well. Thanks to everybody watching on WoodwardSports.com in the Woodward Sports Chat. You're going to buy some hoodies. You can buy whatever you want on there, too. Lots of garb that you can get. Is that the appropriate word?
Yeah, sure. That's a word.
That's a word.
From the old days.
It's a word from the old days. They said I was an old soul at heart.
There you go.
Either way, Maz, did you get that number for me on the Bills?
I did. Scotty G found it on FanDuel. If you want to bet the Bills to go undefeated, 17-0 in the regular season, you can get 35-1 odds today. Now, that is before they play Miami and
the Ravens
and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So if they're going to win those games, the odds will definitely drop under 20-1.
Now or never.
Yeah, right.
So if you're going to bet them,
it is a now or never bet. Kind of like the J.J. McCarthy bet that I told you about when it was 120-1. I told you on a Thursday, J.J. McCarthy for Heisman, 120-1. Now you can get it at about 35 or 40-1.
Right.
Meaning, for the lay people out there, if you bet 100 on the Bills to go undefeated, you win 3,500, which isn't, to be honest, it might sound okay. It's not great odds.
Correct.
It's not great odds.
Because it's very hard to do. Only one team in history has gone 14-0, and it was the Miami Dolphins. Patriots came close, but they met Eli Manning.
Well, I guess that would qualify because they went 16-0, so they're not asking you to go unbeaten and win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
they're
just
saying
doing the regular season.
17-0, yeah. So
two teams to do that.
Exactly. What does a win mean to the Detroit Lions? Here's what Dan Campbell says about it.
We've got the guys that are they're going to go to work. And no matter what happens, they're going to put in the work. They're going to try to get better. They're going to compete. So that's never going to be the issue. But to be able to get our win, man, early in the season, week 2, you get early validation as to what we're doing.
And the longer you get that validation, the easier it is to come to work, the easier it is to have a belief in a system and knowing what you're doing, and you move forward from there. I think that win was as important a win as this football team could get, again, because
they had to.
You just want to keep this thing going for a while, Bray. The early, not that you won, the fact that you got an early win. They didn't get their first win last year until December 5th.
Yeah, it's an early win that we talked about yesterday. You know, you're talking two games into the season, you're 1-1. You know, and you had an opportunity to win that first game against a team that right now could be the best team in the NFC. It's a good look for the Detroit Lions, man, but you got to stay the course. But bigger than that, I think it's for Dan Campbell, to his point, and to where it really is for the players to watch, everything that they've been working towards, everything that he's said, hey, guys, we got to hit in training camp. Just trust me. We got to hit in training camp. We're going to be good. Hey, guys, I believe in you. Trust me. Like at every point, whether it was their first win last year, whether it was a couple wins into, whether they beat the Arizona Cardinals, whether in the offseason, you know what I'm saying, whether it was drafting Aiden Hutchinson, whether it was moving up for Jamison Williams, whether it was Hard Knocks, all you've heard consistently Dan Campbell tell his players is trust me. Hey, guys, come together. If you guys come together, and if you're here, trust me, we can win games. Trust me, we can change the identity. Trust me, you guys got to hit. Trust me, D. Swift, you are that good. Trust me, Aiden Hutchinson is better than we thought he was. All this is trust. You know what happens when you start to see it? I got to trust him now. He's won me over. Like as a player, as a fan, he's winning the guys over in the locker room. He's won them. And then he's going out there and proving it. He's showing, yo, Jared Goff, the hell what they said about you in L.A. You can be our guy. If you come in, you do what we say. Hey, just be relaxed. Chill. This is your team. We're going to put some guys around you, some talent around you. Hey, like everything that he's saying, you can see in fruition. I understand it's only one game. But it was a darn good game to watch them play. They led from start to finish. They controlled from start to finish. They had a chance, and we won. Now you're starting to look at the NFC. You asked me about the NFC. You asked me, does this change? Can I answer that question?
That's exactly where I was going to say. I'll go to you first. Does this change the way you feel about the Detroit Lions? You said 6 wins in your official predictions that we did for the show prior to the season. Are you at 6, under 6, or above 6?
I'm not going to change my picks because I'm going to be the guy. If I said 6 and they win 10, and hey, you know what? I took an L. So it looks like I may be taking an L. But yes, my opinion changed. Not only because of the Detroit Lions, Tampa looks beatable. Philly looks beatable. The Vikings look beatable. Green Bay looks beatable. The Saints are beatable. The Rams are beatable. The 49ers are beatable. The Cards are beatable. You look at the NFC, all the teams that made the playoffs last year are beatable. Like the Eagles now, they look like they're getting better. They look like they're the team to beat right now. But the Detroit Lions, what they showed me in week 1, who's averaging 35.5 points per game in 2 weeks? Who's the fourth leading running back in the NFL in terms of yards? Who's the third or tied for second for terms of catches? Who's second in touchdown passes? They're all on the Detroit Lions. Look how well that line is played. And they have been hindered, injured, and hampered. So just looking at it from the NFC point of view, the Detroit Lions definitely look like a team where you're asking that question, Ryan, and God, you're going to be right again. Why not the Lions? Why not this year?
I had them at 8-9. I had them losing to the Patriots. But just looking at that team right now and the way it all shapes up, you still got to go to Foxborough in a couple of weeks. And I might switch my game there and make them 9-8. But to beat the Vikings, I got them beating the Vikings at home, not beating them at Minnesota. I think this week will be a very hard week for them. It's not a game that I'm real confident in their win, but I'm so happy that they're 1-1 right now. And when you hear Chris Berman on primetime, and he's like, Lions beat the Lions, when he does that, Lions, it's fun. They're already in the national talk, is what I'm trying to say. And it's going to be great in December when I see that Detroit Lions in the hunt. Well, that's all I want to see.
What if you go to December and they're division leader?
Oh, jeez.
I don't think it's crazy. I really don't. I think there's one team that's playing about as good as anybody, and then everybody else is under that. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. And you just went toe-to-toe with them.
The thing that
Week 1.
Yeah.
Week 1, home.
All I have is the information as I
got you.
Like just like Michigan State play, all we can do is control what we've done in the past and who they put before us. So, if you look at the Detroit Lions and you look at them right now, look, it's early in the season. We're not trying to crown them the NFC North champ. We're not trying to crown them the Kings in the North. That's not what we're doing. We're talking about, as we've seen it through 2 weeks, why not them? You look at this NFC North, Green Bay's going to figure it out at some point because they got that man. He's still going to be that man. They'll figure it out. But they don't look like a team that can figure it out to the tune of beating the hell out the Lions. They don't look like a team that can figure it out to a tune of 13 wins. They look like they can figure it out to the tune of them, the Vikings, and the Lions fighting for 11-6, 10-7, etc. So with the Lions, got to stay the course though. You got a good schedule and it's happening in your favor. We talked about it yesterday. Who just played yesterday on Monday Night Football? The Minnesota Vikings. And it was an ugly loss for them. They're on a short week.
Yep.
Playing in the NFL, being on those short weeks, nothing is fun about a short week, whether you're a player or whether you're a coach. Because, guys, you don't get your typical Monday off because now you got to come in Monday. You got to watch a little bit of film. You got to watch the game, break it down. Your Tuesday, you kind of get that. Your Monday, your Tuesday is the day that you're supposed to have off. Now you got to come in and watch film. Now Wednesday, you got to come in and practice. Now Thursday, etc. So coaches try to find a way to tempo down the week. Players trying to find a way to find spaces in there to have some time to themselves, but you really can't. It's always tough coming off a Monday night game, period. Especially when you lose and you're coming into a game against a team that is hungry, that feels themselves on the precipice of turning the corner and changing the narrative. The Minnesota Vikings couldn't have had a Monday Night Football loss at a worse time in the schedule with the Detroit Lions are coming into after a win against the Commanders.
The Lions beat them last year on the last game that they played them. So they're coming in on a one-game win streak, as far as I'm concerned, against Minnesota. And not a hell of a lot has changed except the coaching staff. So we'll give it a shot, man.
What can you learn about this game against the Minnesota Vikings? I think we'll learn a lot, but one thing that we think we know is that the Lions have a pretty good offense. You'll hear from Dan Campbell, Josh Reynolds on the Lions offense, what's working and what's not. And what's not is not much. Everything seems to be working for these guys. We'll have it for you next. But first, a message from SMA.
The Sports Marketing Agency does an amazing job providing you with information about mental health as well as addiction. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, and S Word stands for stigma. What we're trying to do in this community, in the rehab recovery community, we're just trying to give you the information. We're trying to destigmatize mental health as well as destigmatize addiction at the same time. Sean Jordan does an amazing job with the NFL Alumni Association of providing you conversation, providing you content, and providing you information. If you or anyone you know might be struggling with anything and you're trying to figure it out, you're trying to get answers, you're trying to say, where can I go? Can someone help me? Well, yeah, look no further. Go to thesportsma.com. They do an amazing job of providing you with the information that you may need. thesportsma.com.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.
At Big Frog, get yourself a free Woodward Sports t-shirt. That's right, a free
Big Frog
Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog in Novi. Just stop in and tell them we sent you, and they will print you up one right on the spot. So go to Big Frog Novi today and get yourself a free t-shirt, or visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
What can we learn from the Detroit Lions game against the Minnesota Vikings? What can you learn about the first 2 weeks of the season, the way the Lions played Philadelphia? I think it's really interesting, and we're going to learn a lot about how good this offense is going to be on the road at Minneapolis against a pretty stout defense of the Minnesota Vikings. Dan Campbell talked about that offense earlier yesterday. Here's his thoughts on the Lions offense.
Those two guys are pretty dynamic players for us. When you got those guys and you got, Reynolds and Shark on the perimeter and Hawk in the middle, Goff's got some weapons to go to.
Plenty of weapons, including Josh Reynolds. Josh Reynolds catching a touchdown pass last week. Here's his thoughts on the Lions offensively.
I mean, it just shows you, be able to score 36 points and we leave a lot of points out there. It just shows you how explosive this offense is and how explosive it could be. As long as we execute every play like it could be the play of the game, and it could be.
This offense, scoring points, is doing a hell of a job. And closing out that game, too, Bray, last week. It was their offense that closed it out, not so much their defense. It was the offense that kind of punched back. We're going to learn a lot about these guys this week on the road.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about these guys on the road. You're going against the defense in Minnesota. Obviously they didn't look too good in the first half yesterday, but once again, that's a pretty good team over there in Philly. They're going to get tested. Like, this is a perfect time for them to get tested. They're scoring 35.5 points, and like you heard Josh Reynolds say, they left points out there in both games. You heard Amon-Ra St. Brown at the podium after the loss to Philly say they could have put up 50. But that's what I love about this team so far. That's what I like about them. Let me say not love. Well, actually, yes, that is what I love about them so far. They're not just taking things in stride. Like before, you would see moral victories. Like the Lions come that close to beating Philly in years past. You would hear a lot of moral victory things. You would hear a lot of thought process moral victory-wise. And, we were right there and we had opportunities. We just couldn't close it. But, we played a lot better and we're not the same team. And then a win against the Washington Commanders, you would have thought they won a Super Bowl. It would have been like, we're just clicking right now and we're doing all the things that Dan Campbell taught us. They are not settling. They are not complacent with where they're at right now. Everyone in the country, including Detroit Lions fans, is excited as hell. They're over the moon. Oh, man, the Lions look like something special. Lions fans, man, I told you we can win 10 games. This guy over here.
I still think that, by the way.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, this wasn't me coming at you.
No, I was just because I didn't follow up with the what we I never mentioned my own. I asked you guys about has your thing changed, and I never mentioned my own.
Well, you can.
It has not.
No, and
I still think 10's the number.
Well, and it should. Now you're right. Last year it was 11-1 for a certain school up north. So hey, you might be right again, and I think you could be. But it's just the non-complacency that they are. Everyone else is complacent for them, but the Lions aren't. You hear that. You hear they have more to give. DJ Chark hasn't even gotten going yet. Josh Reynolds had to catch a touchdown.
Is there concern about him?
A little bit, but I think you're still trying to find like the fullness of your identity. You can run the ball, You can pass the ball a little bit. I think they're trying to settle. Where are we? What's going to be our wheelhouse completely? And I think they're trying to settle in that. I mean, you look at last week, DeAndre Swift had 5 carries, but he had 11.6 yards a carry. So Jared Goff had 256 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. So they're gonna figure it out, but they got to get DJ Chark going. Because one thing will happen with guys, especially at the wide receiver position, especially now, because wide receivers are getting off. Guys are really getting off often and early in the NFL. You go 2, 3, 4 games and you're not catching touchdowns or you're not catching 5, 6 passes. It's you start to get antsy. You start to get, all right, when you guys give me the ball, and then next thing you know, they throw you the ball, you drop it because you're not ready and you're pounding. So got to get that guy going a little bit. That's one guy I want to see Jared Goff have a little bit more connection, and also Hockenson.
Just a couple of national guys I wanted to bring up. Des Bryant, former number 88, great for the Cowboys. He tweeted out on Sunday, hey, what did I tell you about those Lions? And then did you see your man Marcus Spears?
I did.
What did Spears say?
Put up Marcus Spears' tweet if you have it, Fletch. He basically said the same thing. What have I told you guys? What does Dan Orlovsky and I have told you guys about this Lion team? It's the first tweet I put up on the page there, Fletch.
But here's the one thing that you got to be careful with individuals. And here's the tweet right here. I can't really read it, but it's you guys see it. If you guys are watching this, you guys see it. The thing you got to be careful with about these analysts, the national analysts, is because Dan Orlovsky's been saying that. What Marcus Spears has been hating is just like everybody else. Marcus Spears has been cracking his jokes in the morning and talking about, oh man, it's the Lions and blah, blah, blah. Be careful who you take your compliments from, because everybody can go back and say, man, what have I been telling you? I've known Marcus Spears since before the draft. That's my guy. He was not saying that. Dan Orlovsky was.
The tweet, if you're listening audio only, the tweet from Marcus Spears says, man, Dan Orlovsky and I tried to tell folks about the Lions. You better bring your lunch pail when you play them. It's not an easy out to face the Lions.
Pretty cool.
Play the Lions.
That's cool.
It is.
I love that.
And I forget, it was Spears, in fact, after week 1 that said, look, everybody's looking at the schedule. You're looking at the schedule. You see the Lions on there. That's no gimme, he said. That's not one you're going to get.
That makes me proud, man. A little crap like that.
Well, it does. Listen,
it gives you something.
Mess, football fans like us who have been, excuse me, let me correct that. Lions fans like us who love football, who wait all year to consume the NFL product. You get through week 1, week 2, week 3, season's over. I mean, they're bashing your team at the beginning and then completely forget about your team. Look at baseball, for instance. When's the last time you turned on MLB Network to watch a baseball show? Not you, Maz, but just like regular Tigers fans. You don't, because your team sucks. And when your team sucks, it's so hard to, A, hear they suck, and B, want to see anything else.
Yeah.
You just don't want to see it. So when you've got national guys, you turn on, and in the NFL is all over the place, Bray. When you hear national guys say something nice about your program for the first time in a long time, it feels good. You'll take it.
It does, and it's so funny. You look at the Detroit Lions. I talked about this before. Every Detroit Lions fan has a side team. It's like a side piece. Everybody got a side piece where it's like, look, Lions my girl, but I know she doesn't treat me right. So every once in a while, I'm really, Green Bay, I got a side piece. Or I got to go with the Rams because it's the Detroit West. Or the Chiefs because I love Patrick Mahomes. Or whatever and whoever your side piece is. But that's how you get through a football season, right? You got your side chick. But you don't need a side chick if you have a team that comes to play every week. A team that's going to give you all they have, but not just all they have in grit. All they have and is good. It's not just some team that's clawing and scraping and scratching and they're playing outside themselves. They're playing to who they are. They're playing to the ability that they have. So now you want to watch these shows and see what they say. Oh, let me turn on and see what Stephen A. Smith is saying. Let me turn on and see. No, you're going to turn on Woodward Sports because we're going to tell you what we've been talking about since before the season started. Well, at least Ryan Ermanni, not myself.
Fair to say you don't need that side piece in 2022.
I would say fair to say you don't need her in 2023. It looked like you may not need her in 2022. She still does that thing, you know what I'm saying? So,
hey, Murph on our Woodward Sports chat says, Des tweeted about the Lions again last night. He said, the Vikings getting beat by Philly just proves what I've been saying about the Lions. That was Des Bryant
That's
again
awesome.
last night.
I mean, it's just great stuff. I love
I told
to hear
you.
it. And that's why it's important to win early, right? You could be 1-5, 1-6, 1-7, win in week 9 or 10.
16.
It don't mean anything. Yeah, it's nice to come up with a win after all the work you put in for the week, but it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. You have to win early.
And that's why we were talking about so much making of the wins that they had last year in December, the close games that they played in December. It's like, well, you know what? Jared Goff looked a lot better in December. Well, the Lions, they did win. They were 3-1 or whatever it was. Nobody cares about December. Nobody cares about the games you're winning in December because either one, the teams you're playing against, they don't care. They've already packed it in. Or two, it's the end of the season and it's Green Bay and they're doing what they always do, is sit their starters and then play their backups because they're getting ready for the playoff. But when you win in week 2, oh man, and when it looks like the team that you're playing week 3, who, oh by the way, this is our first divisional game, when it looks like they have chinks in their armor and they're coming off a short week and you're not, whoo, oh, man, I might have to see that Lions pose by you, Maz. It's almost that time.
WoodwardSports.com is the place. Thanks for tuning in, watching the show today. Hour number 2 is minutes away, as in 1 minute away. We'll talk to Lynn Henning, longtime sports writer, sports columnist, Tigers writer, baseball writer for the Detroit News. We'll get his thoughts on Scott Harris being announced as the new president of baseball operations for the Detroit Tigers. Just seemingly a home run hire for the ball club there down at Comerica Park. Also college football. I want to get to that next. I love Michigan State. You fans, I'm telling you, fans are great. You walk right into it. And you don't even know it. We'll get to that next, but first a message from the Folding Warehouse.
The Spartans love the Folding Warehouse. Everyone does. In Hamtramck, Chris and Noni Hutt, your wonderful host, football and bowling put together in one glorious game. 2 ways to play it: $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for 2 hours. It'll run you $120, but you can have 10 or 12 people on a lane. They have multiple full bars, over 100 beers to offer, and the special mystery $2 mystery beer machine. That's right. It's a mystery. You got to check it out. You might get yourself a Rheingold or a Colt 45. You never know what he's got in that machine. Bring your own food in. Have it delivered. Get your fold on at foldingwarehouse.com.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron. Here we go. Got to grab the cranberry. Oh, wait. It's 2 for $4. Got to double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, in case you didn't know, Planet Fitness is the official studio sponsor
of
Woodward Sports. It's also home to the judgment-free zone where you can work out for just $10 a month. Or do yourself a favor and upgrade to the Black Card for unlimited guest privileges, hydro massage, and much more. Join in club today or go to planetfitness.com.
Guys, this is so grand. So yesterday, I gave you my honest take on the Michigan State Spartan football team.
Ooh, boy, did you piss me
the
off.
coach, all that good stuff. And I said, okay, as part of this, I will now be the center of the personal attacks, and my team will get called out for, playing nobody.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's just a total layup Yeah. You can't say anything positive about your own football team or your own football coach, so you resort to personal attacks and you talk about Michigan. Here's one tweet, okay? I'm just going to read one tweet. This was the first one I saw. This is from Joe Limpman, or Joe Lippman. Joe Lippman or Joe Limpman?
He's probably Limp.
Limp. Ryan E. Fox 2 at his finest, people. Clown show. Man up and play some top 50 teams, not 5 programs in the bottom 20. So the personal attack, clown. And then the Michigan attack, play somebody in the bottom or in the top 50. Good job, Mr. Limpman. It's just so grand. It's so easy. It's such a layup. You can't talk or say anything positive about your own football program, so you resort to this sewer business. You're in the sewer business.
Here's a good question. Where was Washington ranked before that game?
They were unranked going up against the number 11 team.
They're probably
11 in the country, now unranked.
They were probably somewhere in, let's give them 40 or even 35. What the hell? Let's give them that. I heard this as I was listening to other individuals around the city yesterday and then today, etc. You hear it, and it's, Michigan doesn't play anybody. Would you rather not play anybody or play Little Sisters of the Blind, or play somebody and then that way you're battle tested, or play Little Sisters of the Blind and not know anything about your program? This is my response to that. You ready for this, Ryan?
I'm here for it.
You guys played Western Michigan in the first week of the season, who was trash. 6 minutes and 32 seconds left in the game. They were driving on the 30-yard line. 30-yard line, down 8 points. Down 8 points. I saw all I needed to see out of Peyton Thorne. I saw all I needed to see out of the offensive line. I saw that then, and that was Western Michigan. Are we calling them a top 25? Are we calling them a potential playoff team? No, we're not. Then the Akron game the following week, saw the same thing. I saw the Akron team be able to go down and do whatever they wanted to do to get to the 30. Then they would turn the ball over, as an inferior team should do. So going into the Washington game, I already knew who Michigan State was. I already knew what Michigan State was. I knew where the weak links were. Whenever you got Halliday man-to-man coverage with a tight end or receiver, it's going to get destroyed. Why do you think they attacked him in the first half of the Washington game? They saw the film from the Western game. They saw the film from the Western game. They knew who Michigan State was already. So Ryan and Monty comments that he made yesterday about your team sucks, guess what? Right now they do. Now, can they unsuck? Possibly. Maybe. But
not this year.
But as of right now, that's what they do. Your coach, he came out and said, you know what? I got to be better. I'm not worth the you-know-what right now. Based on my record, when you turn that film on and when you look at the team that I put out there, I'm not worth a you-know-what right now. Ryan Ermanni didn't say that.
I did say that, but I didn't say anything that he didn't say about himself. This audio courtesy of Gina Trotman on Channel 7.
The resume is on the tape, So, like right now, I'm a horseshit football coach right now. Hell yeah, I take it personal. I take it all personal. I remember one time I was coaching. I was at another school. I'm not going to name it. And then something happened, and well, I was actually at Ohio State, and someone said, "Well, you can't take that personally," And I was like, I didn't understand that, and I was talking to Coach Truss about it. He said, I never met a good coach who didn't take it personally.
See, this is why I can like the Michigan State football team. This is why I can love the Michigan State football coach, who, by the way, I was on the team in Cleveland Browns when he was there as a secondary guy. See, this is why I can love him, but I can hate you guys as a fan base, because it ain't about y'all. It's about the coach, and it's about the players. The coach understands that he isn't doing his best right now. The coach understands that his players aren't playing their best right now. They can get better. They can go back and assess things. So when we come up here and we give you the facts and we lay it out as we see it, much like your head coach sees it too, you guys should start worrying about the Michigan football team and worry about that damn team in East Lansing.
And that's really the bottom line, because I don't think I said anything about the Michigan State Spartans or Mel Tucker that Mel Tucker didn't just say about himself or the Michigan State Spartans. So, for all of you Spartan fans out there, you can, mental edit. You can, what.
But on the other side of things, let's
Michigan. I do want to get to the Michigan Wolverines.
Why not?
You can tell me you don't know anything about Michigan from playing 3 cupcakes. I'll tell you I do. This team is going to get after it defensively. This team is going to swing the ball around. This team's going to pound you to the ground, and they're not going to let up. I love this football team, and I do think, without a shadow of a doubt, barring injuries, this team shows up in Columbus in November 11-0. And I don't even think they play a game that is within single digits, to be honest with you.
Not even Penn State?
That is. I'll give you one prediction a year for Michigan. This is my prediction for Michigan. They don't play a game this year until they get to Ohio State. They show up in Columbus 11-0, and they don't have a game where they have won it by less than 9 points. By less than 10. It is going to be a double-digit win through week 11.
Here's what I would say. I'll bring it a little bit more closer to the game that we play this week and not so much into the future, although I do agree.
Penn State sucks.
Although I do agree with Ryan. And yes, I agree with you again. I told Maz asked that yesterday about Penn State. I told him exactly how I felt about Penn State yesterday, and he brings it up again. Sean Clifford is not that good of a quarterback. He should have left for the draft, even though he was injured. James Franklin is an accident waiting to happen at the head coach position, and Michigan always beats Penn State at Michigan. Now, moving to an immediate future, you saw the game. I know everybody's out there like, oh, what happened to the Heisman Trophy winner that Ryan Ermanni talked about, and J.J. McCarthy? He didn't look that good. You know what? J.J. McCarthy was a guy, finally has a job. He's trying to be the best version of himself. And no, he didn't play exceptionally well like he has in the past. He's now a guy that's listening. He said, hey, they always think I can run. They know I'm an exceptional runner. I want to show him I can pass too. He tried to pass some situations that he shouldn't. He should have took the RPO. There were some times where he tried to fit it in some windows where it's not there. He's a guy that started his first game. That's going to happen. So I actually embrace it. I was expecting it to happen. Glad he got it out the way. Like you always talk about, he got it out the way. Michigan flies around on the defensive side of the ball. You asked about Will Johnson Jr., 5-star out of Grosse Pointe. Guess what? We've seen him in spades. Jesse Minter was on radio station earlier today, 97.1 if you will, talking about his growth as a freshman, and he is killing it. Said he's extremely happy with Will Johnson Jr. Said he's extremely happy with a guy by the name of Michael Pollard. If you don't know that name, that's my nephew. The thing that I'm getting to, it's all the young guys on the defense. The young guys are playing. One thing Jim Harbaugh did exceptionally well last year, Ryan Ermanni, is what? Everybody played. He played so many people. Remember, he played the most players, I think it was some in NCAA history, with a couple of the games, whether it was Washington.
I think it was 90 players last
90 players played. He plays players because you never know when you're going to need these players, and they're flying around. Now, their opponent, they're playing Maryland, a Big Ten team. And finally, you get into the Power 5. Finally, you get into a team that can pass. They haven't faced a team that can pass the ball, and Tulia Tagovailoa can pass the ball. He has a 300-yard game waiting to happen. He had 5 of them last year, and he's already has 1 or 2 this year. So it's going to be interesting. Now, you get against a guy and a team that's in the Big Ten, a guy in Tulia Tagovailoa that can pass the ball. What can Michigan do now? The way in which they're easing into their season, you can say what they want to, is the perfect schedule for J.J. McCarthy and the Michigan Wolverines, and I think you're going to see more than you think you have.
Woodward Sports Chat. Ermanni literally used the word cute today when referring to MSU. That's from Scott Lofton. No, I use cute when referring to MSU fans.
Get him,
because Ryan. You did exactly what I predicted you would do when I called out your football team. Instead of looking inward at your own football team, you had all these nice little cute things to say about Braylon and I. And the Michigan football schedule, and nothing to say about your own crappy football team, who totally sucks. So yeah, I did not say that about Michigan State. I said it about the MSU fans. Boom. So there you go. Big distinction there. Guys, we're going to talk to Lynn Henning coming up momentarily in about 10 minutes from now. I want to go back to the NFL in the meantime while I can, though, because there's one player down in Miami who is playing way above anybody's expectation, I think, except for one person in this room. We'll get to that guy next. But first, a message from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. It is no secret that new cars are hard to come by, but they are available at Les Stanford. Got to make a plan. Allocation coming in for lease or purchase of new vehicles. Les Stanford also has over 300 pre-owned cars on their lot right now. All makes, all models, all years. Some with less than 500 miles on them. So they're like new. Get off your heels into some wheels. Come on down today, practically giving them away. Les Stanford Chevrolet and Cadillac. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com.
Find new roads.
Find them.
At work and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Hey, it's Scott from the Bet Show. Hey, week 2 of the NFL season is in the books. How's your fantasy squad doing? If you need some help, make sure you come join us at 4:30 to Woodward Bet's YouTube page. We'll talk some free agents today. And also, hey, you got to get over to that app store and download oddstrader.com. It's got live scoring, play-by-play updates, and the best place to check all the odds from the sports books right in the palm of your hand. But hey, fun coupons. That's what we like. Hey, I gave you Jalen Hurts last night to score the first touchdown. Some fun coupons. Listen, we're going to keep rolling. Let's bet on the Lions early. Get on the Lions early right now. It's at 7.5 in some spots. I expect that to go down to as low as 6. Oddstrader.com. Woodward Bets. Check it out.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta
certainly
Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, check out Alta Rental. They have you covered. Call them today at 844-GO-2 Alta. That's 844-GO-2
WoodwardSports.com. Tigers introduced Scott Harris about a little less than an hour ago. We'll talk to Lynn Henning about that coming up in about 10 minutes. I did want to go back to the NFL, if I could. Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins are 2-0. It was an epic win this week. What were they down? They scored 28
They scored 28 in the fourth. They were down 35-14.
It's incredible, Maz.
They outscored Baltimore 28-3 in the fourth quarter.
And that was on the. Were they? No, they were in Miami.
No, it was in Baltimore. That was their home opener.
Right.
It was Baltimore.
My goodness.
After
man.
Lamar Jackson went 75 yards with that run to put them up by 21, it looked like that was it. But no, they come back. Yeah. Waddle, Hill, Gesicki, they were all over the place. Mike McDaniel did a great job keeping that team involved, and Tua finished it.
Great job of keeping those guys involved. Obviously you would like to see it in the earlier stages of the game. You would like it to be easier so you don't have to score 28 in the fourth, but they did. They have that capability. Much like we were just talking about, Brian, with Jalen Hurts. It's the same thing with Tua Tagovailoa. Tua comes in, national championship game, second half, wins the game. But one thing people forgot about in that game, and I'm going to bring it back and make it make sense. They get to overtime. Do people remember what happened on the first play of overtime? Or on second down in overtime? Tua took a 16-yard sack. 16-yard sack in overtime. And was like, you know what? Everybody be calm. Everybody relax. He hit him with the Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Everybody relax. And then he throws a strike to Devontae Smith for a touchdown, and they win the national championship game. Then he hurts his hip. He was a front runner for the Heisman. He was a front runner to be #1 pick overall. Hurts his hip, gets injured, changes his trajectory a little bit. He's still the same guy as it relates to mindset, as it relates to arm. Arm didn't change. They talk about he can't hit guys in stride and he can't get the ball down the field. Last time I checked, Jalen Waddle was on that Alabama team. Devontae Smith was on that Alabama team. Jerry Jeudy was on the Alabama team. Those guys all run 4.3. But he can't get the ball down the field. When you pay attention to narratives, you don't do your homework, and then you get stuck saying the same thing and regurgitating the same thing that other people say without doing your homework. Tua is a winner. He has been a winner. Now he's got a team around him. He's got a team that believes in him. Remember, Brian Flores didn't want Tua. So imagine being a quarterback on a coach that didn't want you. He wanted Justin Herbert. Rightfully so, as it seems so far, but he wanted Justin Herbert. Imagine being the guy and nobody wants you there. And everybody's looking at you weird. Nobody wants to support you. Now you bring in McDaniel, who's like, hey, you know what? We're going to support him, at least for this year. And if you can't figure it out this year, then we'll get you to ask. But now you got Tyreek Hill around you. Now you have Jalen Waddle around you. Now you have Mike Gesicki. Well, I love Mike Gesicki. I loved him at Penn State. I think he's one of the best athletes in the NFL, bar none. You got 2 running back. You go out and get Terron Armstead, left tackle from the Saints in this offseason. You place people around him for him to be successful, and that's what you saw in that game. McDaniel believed in him. He believed in the team, and oh, by the way, Baltimore just decided to stop playing defense in the fourth quarter because that 60-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill. I don't understand for the life of me how people let him get that open. I know he's blazing fast. I would put a straitjacket on him if I could, man, because letting him get that open, can't do it.
And Tua is a thrower. Jalen Hurts is a runner. Both are winners. We underestimate, I think, as sports fans, what winning in college, how that translates to the NFL. We'll discard you for any reason. Oh, Hurts can't throw. He's a running quarterback, so we're going to discard him. Oh, Tua is too short. Tua can't run. Tua can't sit in the pocket and see over anybody. So we discredit him. Yeah. Meanwhile, all these 2 quarterbacks do is win wherever they are, and they both have their teams off to 2-0 starts. Something you said, though, rightfully so, about Justin Herbert. Why? I mean, why are we so, and I'm just as guilty as the next guy, why are we so quick to crown Justin Herbert? What has he done in this league?
The only reason why I say rightfully so to this point is because Tua definitely did have a severe hip injury, and Justin Herbert did not. Then you look at what Justin Herbert, yeah. So I was going from that angle, and then you look at what Justin Herbert has done his first 2 years. I'm like, so rightfully so up to this point. I got you. But you hit the nail on the head, and I say this to people all the time: like, pay attention to quarterbacks in college. Like, when I give you an example, when you draft Mitchell Trubisky, you move up to draft Mitchell Trubisky. He didn't even win in college. He didn't win in North Carolina. Now you see him struggling yet again. We'll get into that. You got to be a winner in college. Now there's exceptions to the rule, like Patrick Mahomes, who didn't win, but Patrick Mahomes had a freakish style of play. Man, look at Tom Brady. You can say what you want to about it. He won when they put him in. They gave him opportunity. He won the Orange Bowl. He beat Alabama. You look at Russell Wilson. What did Russell Wilson do when he was in college? Almost won the ACC one year, came back his final year. What did he do? He won the Big Ten. You got to be a winner in college, and that's the guys that you see winning Super Bowls. It's guys that win. Tua won the national championship. Jalen Hurts damn near won the national championship. Deshaun Watson, they didn't want to draft him. What did he do? He won the national championship over Alabama. Like, you got to win in college at the quarterback position to be a winner in the NFL.
Can I just accentuate that point for a minute?
Please.
Guy that I trust, I love, Michael Lombardi, former general manager, worked in New England, now currently does a show on VSiN with Brent Musburger. He said, and he was talking about Trey Lance, and we can talk about the Trey Lance. We haven't gotten into that injury. He did have successful surgery. But he's talking about Jimmy G and Trey Lance. He said, look, nobody wants to see the kid hurt. But there was a reason why Jimmy Garoppolo was not moved. They know what they have in Trey Lance, and he is shocked. He said, how does a guy like Lamar Jackson sit for 31 picks?
He won in college.
All he did was put an entire program on the map. He won in college. You never heard of Louisville football before Lamar Jackson. Wins the Heisman.
Well, John L. Smith.
Wins the Heisman. How does a guy like that sit
by
for
the way,
31
beats
picks?
Deshaun Watson. The year Deshaun Watson wins the national championship, upsets Deshaun Watson.
So his whole thing was, these general managers are just crazy. How does a guy like Lamar Jackson sit for 31 picks, but a guy like Trey Lance, who played one game in college because he was hurt so much, you trade up the farm to pick him number 3 when you've never really seen him play but one game? How does that happen? That's how you get fired in the National Football League. That is how you get fired. And it's just such a dichotomy of ways that people evaluate and why it's so jump. It doesn't have to be so difficult.
You know why, Matt?
It does not have to be so difficult.
Matt, tell me if I'm wrong. It's the not fear, but it's the excitement for the unknown. Like, we've gotten to this new age, this new wave where analytics and, well, this guy, and he played one game, but look at this upside and look at these measurables. Meanwhile, measurables, okay, well, if I'm watching Lamar Jackson, based on what Lombardi said, I mean, he only won the Heisman. as a sophomore. I mean, he only actually increased his passing output his junior year, but you don't want to draft him. But it's the excitement. Hey, look, man, last guy that was out of North Dakota State was Carson Wentz, and you saw how excited they were about him. He doesn't play, but look, man, he can run, he can throw. Everybody needs a running quarterback nowadays in the NFL. Everybody needs a guy that can be that dual threat. He could be the next guy, man, baloney, man. I need to see it. I need to show proof.
No doubt.
He still might show proof. He's just not showing it yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you always want to be the smartest team in the room.
Well,
you always do.
As Lombardi said, I think everybody knows what Trey Lance is in the NFL, unfortunately, except for John Lynch, the guy that picked him. So we'll see. And again, just terrible that he's had so many injuries so far in his young career.
They don't want to get another one wrong. I mean, you look at them right now. You look at, 2017, the same year as Mitchell Trubisky. Who was that guy? Solomon Thomas that they drafted, move up to get him at 2. Now he's floating around the NFL. Now here's another guy that they traded the farm to get, and Trey Lance, they pick him 2. It's like, I don't want to be wrong again on the number 2 pick.
Speaking of the unknown, what do we know about Scott Harris, the new president of baseball operations for the Detroit Tigers? We will ask longtime Detroit News sports columnist Lynn Henning. We'll do that next. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience. And it's your last month to register to win the car of your dreams from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer, Academy of Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new Field House. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. Because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Trader.com is the #1 site for your game day bets. Play-by-play updates, live scores, and best price from every game from multiple sportsbooks. Doesn't matter what sportbook you want to go to, come to oddstrader.com. Doesn't matter what same game parlay you want to make, come to oddstrader.com. Doesn't matter who you're voting for MVP. Can't wait to ask Lynn Henning who he thinks should be the MVP in the AL or NL. But guess what? Go to oddstrader.com. Because simply put, they are the best. Forget the rest.
Welcome back, WoodwardSports.com. The aforementioned Lynn Henning, longtime Detroit News columnist, author at Lynn_Henning, joins us now live. Lynn, thanks so much for the time. It's a big day for the Tigers organization moving forward. When you first heard Scott Harris was the guy, your initial reaction was?
We thought we had a pretty good roundup of contestants throughout Ground on that whole thing, and we missed Scott Harris, and that's fine because I think, Ryan, they got a really sharp cookie here, and I think all along I said, instead of trying to find somebody else's fear up, Andrew Friedman or Mike Elias with the Astros, who's now really getting some celebrity. Why don't the Tigers find their own Theo Epstein or their own Andrew Friedman? And this guy has that potential to be just such a model for a front office in ensuing years. He's that bright. He is that clear in his vision. You got a taste of that today. These weren't just idealisms that he was talking about. He is going to implement a strategy immediately. And I'll tell you what jumped out at me, guys, was the second commandment, the strike zone. When a man is being introduced as a new front office general and says, next to making players better, the strike zone is going to be his bullseye. He is not offering hollow words there. And I could just about hear Javier Baez and Gregory Soto shudder as he heard what Harris's intentions were there, because we're going to go from lip service to having this be either you have it or you don't.
Talking to Lynn Henning, and Lynn, we did not have the benefit of listening to the press conference today. We're on the air at the same time, but was there anything that you took away from that gives you any indication? And I guess, pounding the strike zone, we're going to be the strike zone. Was there anything that you just said, yeah, this guy's got it, this guy's got it?
Oh, I knew he did, Ryan. I talked to enough people about him, and I knew he was going to be very impressive today, and he was. As I said on Twitter, I said he might as well have carried a bat to the dais with those opening remarks, because he hit the ball out of the ballpark. And he did. And you can say, well, that's easy to do. At an introductory press conference, everybody is seashells and balloons and high spirits. No, it's what the substance was from everything he said today. And once you separated wheat from chaff there, you saw there was a lot of wheat. And it's going to be implemented immediately.
Lynn, just how I'm sorry, just how big is this job? I mean, there was so much hope that the Tigers were there and going to take that next step this year. I mean, I don't know if it's fair to ask you how many years are we waiting here, but how big is this job ahead of Scott Harris?
It's manageable. It's not akin to when Al Avila took over the Tigers in 2015. And he was going to be dealing with a bombed-out crater for years, and he was. And he couldn't really get past that point, not appreciably. But all of maybe the bright light that you saw a year ago, that's going to return next season for a variety of factors, not just because Scott Harris is running the show. There were going to be some returns to the mean, as they say, next season. You weren't going to have all your rotation at the doctor's office. You weren't going to have a guy suddenly stop hitting who can hit, and you're going to have some kids who are going to begin to infuse this thing with some real energy and some real capacity to win. So those things will be around next year. I do expect, Ryan, to your question, which is a good one, that you are going to see some fairly instantaneous moves, and by that I mean this autumn. And I can see a capacity for him making high volume trades, maybe not big names, but trying to parlay a lot of pieces into something that gets him a gainful return. I think you should prepare for that. I think he's going to definitely revamp and retool the scouting departments, either in great numbers or in small, but there's going to be some definite shifting there. And that's where it has to change. The Tigers are only going to be as good as the talent that they are signing, drafting, and bringing to the organization as youngsters. And without that, you're going to have a roster like you have now. They're catching up a little bit, and they will have some pretty good kids there to add to Torkelson and Green in the coming couple of years, but that's still a little bit just over the horizon. Harris will make sure that these drafts are a lot more solid, and the international market, I think, is going to get a big boost also from his particular stewardship here. That's going to change.
Talking a long time, Detroit columnist Lynn Henning. Lynn, Braylon here. Let me ask you one question. Now, you might have answered it in that in what you just said, so forgive me if I'm asking again. What is the number one thing and the first thing that he has to address, and he being Scott Harris, what is the first thing you think that he should address? Because you talked about it a little bit with the pitching, you talked about the hitting, obviously Soto and Baez, and then the young guys, Torkelson and Green. But what's the first thing you think that he should attack?
You know, Braylon, that's exactly what I was asking myself this afternoon. I said, what's it going to be in terms of any kind of aggressive timeline here? I think the first thing he'll do is get his staff in order, while he's also keeping one eye on what is going on in the minor leagues. He's going to be sitting down and studying that immensely, all the people in the minor leagues, so he gets a good handle on what his talent base is there. as he's sorting out who are going to be his generals, I think he'll probably bring in his own GM, his own right-hand man. I think that because that's normally the way it goes in professional sports. I'm not sure that's fair to Sam Menzen. He might end up with that job very easily. But that is going to be the kind of thing he'll look at immediately. What immediate staff do I have to hire? He'll get that handled. But as he's doing that, Braylon, he's going to look at the farm and really get a sense for who the assets are there together with his current roster. And, of course, he and A.J. Hinch will be debriefing one another back and forth over these coming days as soon as Hinch is back in town. And they're on the phone all the time now. You can certainly understand that. So that he really knows, Braylon, what his personnel mass is and what he's going to have to do to buoy it here in the coming months.
Mr. H, wanted to ask you about why he would leave San Francisco. I mean, that's a plum job. I know he wasn't the big boss, Zadie is, but did he not have a chance to, stay there? And how important was he? Was he the real right-hand man there? Did he help build that San Francisco Giant team?
Well, he's only been there a few years, Maz, and you can only impact that so much from that particular position. A lot of what he's done probably won't even be visible to the Giants for some time. The reason he would leave is this. It's equivalent to a jet airline. Back in the earlier days, every pilot wanted to have a 747. They wanted the biggest you can get. They wanted to be in control of the best. And that's what a person of his particular position now at the Tigers has. He is going to be bending, shaping, and spindling this thing in his direction to craft a roster that he thinks can be a championship assembly. And you only get that room, Maz, if you take the top job with one of these 30 clubs. This is why there was such a long list of very good people who wanted this job. There are only 30 of these. And the Tigers, in an old baseball town with a ravenous audience, just waiting to get something to go to the ballpark to see. It's a low bar and one he is going to be able to surmount very, very quickly. And those guys know what the potential is in Detroit. It can and should, and I think will be realized.
What do you think he does with Miguel Cabrera? What's Miguel Cabrera going to do? Is he going to just hang on?
Good question.
I mean,
no. I've been pretty vociferous about that, Maz, on Twitter, as well as I've written about it a couple of times. What I think is going to happen is this. I think Miguel Cabrera and his agent and the Tigers and the doctors will all convene, and they will have a realistic discussion about 2023. Miguel Cabrera is a baseball player who is going to the Hall of Fame who has enormous personal pride. He is not going to want to simply limp his way through 2023 at age 40. He knows he's doing that now. I think he's already psychologically dispositioned toward retirement. I believe they will come to a very pleasing agreement on this. Of course, he's going to get paid for his last year. That isn't at issue. But I don't believe he's going to try to force his way through another year of baseball when he knows the chances of him staying healthy and productive are virtually nil. And I believe they're going to come to a very pleasing consensus on that. I really do.
Hey, Lynn, last thing I had for you is I couldn't imagine being the general manager or the president of baseball operations at 35 years old. This is nothing new now. Yeah. More and more teams are going in this direction. Yeah. What has that shift been like? All these younger guys that are just thrown into the mix right away. I mean, we're talking about a 35-year-old who's been a general manager for 3 years and worked with Theo Epstein for 7 years. How does that happen?
It's an evolution, it's progression, and it's what happens when kids now come out of college and see that they don't necessarily have to have played to be really important figures in baseball. And that realization began occurring some years ago. You might say it began even with Dave Dombrowski back in the late 70s with Raleigh Heeman when he was a student at Western Michigan and did his senior thesis on the role of the big league GM. He went to Chicago, Raleigh liked him, hired him, and away he went. That began to be very commonplace as we got into the 80s and as science began to infiltrate the front offices, Billy Beane in post years. And that's what you've seen. That's how Friedman and these guys all end up in their positions. And Theo Epstein and Mike Elias at Houston. And well, that's why I said, again, Ryan, I thought the Tigers needed to come away with their own Friedman, their own Epstein. And I think they got him here. I really do. I don't try to overreact to these things. But what I heard today was compelling and substantive. And I think they probably hired a blue ribbon candidate here.
Mr. H, last two. These are rapid fire. Who's your MVP in the American League?
I think I've got to go with our 60 home run guy.
Yep.
And
Thank
Ohtani. Ohtani it's not any put down. You can go with Ohtani, but I think Aaron Judge is, because this is simply one for the ages in terms of home runs and hitting and production on a team that's in the playoffs. So I think it's got to be Aaron Judge.
He's the most valuable player because without him, the Yankees would not be in the playoff hunt. And Ohtani can't get that pathetic Angels team to the playoffs. Neither can Mike Trout. They'd still be bad. And last thing, as we're rounding here, and you're living in the Atlanta area now, can the Braves? Do you think the Braves repeat, or are the Dodgers too tough? Who's your World Series, and who do you got as champion right now going into the playoffs?
Actually closer to Jacksonville, Florida than Atlanta by about 4 hours, Maz.
Okay.
But I accept
Don't pick the Jags then.
I'm right on the coast. I'm between Savannah and Jacksonville, just to get specific. But to answer your question, the Dodgers, let's face it, Goliath got beat once by a pebble to the forehead.
Yeah.
That's about what it'll take to knock off the Dodgers. The Astros should be there in the World Series with them. But the Dodgers, I mean, you get a team like this once in 100 years or so. And they got one there. So it's pretty hard to see them suddenly slipping or stubbing toes here in October.
I'm with you. I've been watching them a lot this year, and as much as I don't want them to win, like you said, that pebble better be like a boulder to knock this team down.
A nuclear pebble, yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, Lynn, before we let you go, I just had to say this. Your metaphors are amazing. Like, and every metaphor you always give us, I'm always like, why didn't I think of that? Like, it was so smooth and it's so true. It's so on point, man. You keep those metaphors coming. I'm going to keep stealing them, but I'll give you credit for it.
Give us a metaphor.
Just like the forward passes used to come to you and the ball used to be tucked in your dad's stomach. I covered your dad on both teams back in the early 80s. Stanley Edwards, one of my favorite players, favorite human beings in all of my 45, almost 50 years of covering sports. Stanley Edwards, Braylon, is an absolute jewel of a man. I know I don't have to tell his son that, but I have to mention that.
I will tell him as soon as I get off there. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great.
Mr. H, give us a metaphor on the Michigan State Spartans.
Oh, stop it, man.
No, I'm asking him. He's a Spartan guy. I'm asking him.
An apple that's half ripe and half green. How's that?
Okay.
Very good. Hey, Lynn, we'll be calling you in December as well. We're going to do a week from your place in December.
Oh, yeah. On remote.
You won't be disappointed.
All right. Lynn Henning. Follow him on Twitter at Lynn_Henning. Thanks so much, Lynn. We'll talk to you again soon. We appreciate you doing this. Guys, I got one more thing on the MVP debate. Can I get to that quickly with you next?
I got something too. Yeah.
But first, a message from Chili Peppers Tanning.
Oh, yeah. 27 locations, more on the way. 2 right here on Woodward Avenue. That's right. Come and visit us and go get a tan as well. You get all the best deals. Plus, they're going to beat all competitors by $5 on unlimited tanning, the cleanest salons in the D, the Chili Pepper Girls, and a lot more. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, your darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters. ChiliPeppersTanning.com.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
Make sure you're listening to Woodward Sports all day long. Start your morning with the Morning Woodward Show.
Spend middays with Big D Energy.
Watch and listen your drive home with the Bottom Line.
And don't forget about Woodward Bets Daily.
All live, all right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America.
Woodward Sports,
the first sports network born in Detroit
and made for Detroit.
WoodwardSports.com. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey. Hey, quick, I want to talk about this MVP debate.
I would love to.
I do think it's an interesting one. Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. Aaron Judge is the most valuable player.
Yes.
If you want to tell me Shohei Ohtani is the best player.
Yes.
Most outstanding player.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. He is. But the MVP is Aaron Judge. Period. To me.
You're 1,000% correct. And I'm glad you said that because I wrote it down because I wanted to touch on it briefly. Here we are. It's tough when you look at an individual and you say he's third in the league in home runs, or fourth, Shohei's fourth in the league in home runs in the AL, fourth in the AL, and he's also fourth in the AL in ERA. Like when you look at that, Ryan,
that's amazing.
I will say it again. When you look at an individual, and this is one person, ladies and gentlemen, he's fourth in the AL in home runs. Oh, by the way, he's fourth in the AL in ERA. It's tough. He could win every year. So I think that's why what you said is very important. Is he the best player? To me, yes. Because if Aaron Judge can't be, Aaron Judge can't have the ERA of 2.2.
He's once in a lifetime.
Exactly. And even Babe Ruth wasn't pitching to Aaron Judge's.
No.
So with that being said, yes, he's the best player. But when you say most valuable, you take Aaron Judge off that Yankee season, much like you both just said.
They're nothing.
They're not in the playoffs. They're a terrible team. And now we're looking at getting rid of and cleaning house as the Yankees always do. So if you're talking about the award, it's got to go to Aaron Judge. If we're talking about who's the best player in the American League, Shohei Ohtani.
They will be cleaning house, by the way, because they're not going to win.
Yeah.
Where does a guy like Shohei Ohtani end up?
The Mets.
Well, the Mets have unlimited pockets. The Dodgers have unlimited pockets. I'd find it hard that the Dodgers would let anyone get away from anybody anymore.
The scout / GM that was friends with Shohei, that kind of brought Shohei to the Angels, is now with the Mets.
Yeah, I know. That's nice.
I saw something, a quick stat for you guys. I don't know if you know. Mets, first time since 1989 that they've had the highest roster or the most expensive roster since 1989. Do you know how much that was, Ryan Ermanni?
How much?
$22 million.
Wow.
The Mets' luxury tax alone this season is more than that. Their luxury tax is $30 million. Welcome to 2022, ladies and gentlemen.
And Max Scherzer was pulled with a perfect game in the 6th inning last night. He's just getting back from the DL.
They had to.
I'm just saying.
They had to, right?
I'm just saying. Fergie Jenkins went on Twitter. Ferguson Jenkins, Cy Young, Hall of Famer. And he's like,
he's a great Twitter follow, by the way.
I pitched with a broken hand.
I understand what he's saying.
Denny McClain.
But if
Mickey Lolich.
But if you're a Mets fan, do you want Max Scherzer in the playoffs and down the stretch? Or do you want Max Scherzer to re-injure something, be out another 10 days?
I remember Johan Santana. They let him throw almost 150 pitches,
140 pitches
to get their first no-hitter ever, and he was finished after that season.
Yeah. Was that against the Tigers?
No.
No, it wasn't. But I swear to God, we talked about that. I did not want to play. I did not want to play them, but Man.
I mean, the NLE, I mean,
Mets,
still the Mets, I mean, they're game up.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
They have Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom. They could beat anybody, but they have to hit. They got to hit. And then the Yankees
Can
and
they beat the Dodgers?
Then nobody really can. It's going to take a miracle to beat them.
Yeah.
Going to be fun, though.
Astros are good, too, for God's sake.
Yeah. You have something?
JV.
No. I was agreeing with Maz.
Yeah, I mean, can you see I could see a Subway Series again, and I could easily see, a Dodgers Astros, absolutely.
How about the Indians? Excuse me, the Guardians.
No,
they're going to win the division.
They'll win the division.
I'm just saying, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
They've been put together.
Yeah.
That is an awesome job by that Indians. By that Guardians staff. Unbelievable. Terry Francona, congrats to you.
A collapse could be coming, though. I mean, you just don't know. They got a 4-game lead on the Sox. Everybody.
No. They got it locked up.
Everybody gave that division to the Sox. Everybody gave the AL Central to the Sox this year.
Including the Tigers.
Absolutely. And they, they've got a 4-game lead, and they play 3 in Chicago beginning tonight.
Yep. Chicago has to sweep. If they lose one game, they lose the tiebreaker automatically.
Yep. So they got to sweep. Guys, we'll be back to wrap it up, but first a message from Cintron.
Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, and now for a limited time they have combined their 3 flavors, that is the cranberry, the sugar-free, and the classic, into a limited edition 6-pack. You can achieve this 6-pack at CintronWorld.com/Red Wings. They want to energize the community, man. They want to be a part of it. They're a part of the Tigers, they're a part of the Red Wings, they're a part of the Lions, and they're also a part of Woodward Sports. Let them be a part of you. Let them re-energize you. Cintron, drink it, live it, enjoy it.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit.
But we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
The Monroe Street Midway is open until...
Yeah, it is. Mine was off.
Put some skates on, man.
The Monroe Street Midway is open until September 25th, which means you still have time to experience Detroit with roller skating, mini golf, art, live music, food trucks, and so much more. A fun and safe event for everyone for all ages 1 to 100. Go to deckedoutdetroit.com for more info, and we'll see you at the Midway.
We got to get you a box or something to stand on, JB. It look like you in there sitting on, it look like you sitting on a chair from that camera angle.
If you think about it, what do we do the next 2 nights, right? What do you do the next 2 nights? Because there's Thursday night football. There's Thursday night football. There's college football Friday. I go to high school games. There's Saturday college football. There's NFL Sunday, and then Monday night football. Tuesday, Wednesday.
There you go. I got you covered. You catch up on House of Dragons.
Yeah, I did that last night.
Catch up on Legacy. If you're watching that, Legacy is about the Lakers and talking about how they started till now. That was pretty good. That's on Hulu. Catch up on your TV shows and catch up on sleep, because that's what I'm doing tonight.
You know what I do, and I watch baseball every night, but I put NFL Network on, and they always played the best game on Tuesday and the best game on Wednesday. So if I hadn't seen that game, I will watch
Baltimore and the
Dolphins. I will watch whatever game they pop up.
I love it, man.
On the NFL
No,
Network.
they played one already. I saw it. They played the Jets and the Browns.
Oh yeah.
And the other one's going to be obviously the Dolphins and Baltimore.
You're right. That'll probably be tonight's game.
Yeah, I actually was watching.
And I watched them all because I was at a bar on Sunday. I didn't go to the Giant game.
Yeah.
I went to the bar with Mikey, Jersey Mike, and my nephew Nick. and watched every single game. And I told you, I watched the Lions game on Sunday. I wasn't going to miss it.
I got into a Twitter battle on Sunday, as I always do. Shocking, Braylon always gets into a Twitter battle. But I got into a Twitter battle with the Cleveland fans because it was Cleveland, my team that drafted me, versus the Jets, the team that I actually claim. And I made some comments, and Cleveland fans was like,
what'd you say? I didn't catch that.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? You got to tune in, man. I basically was like, Cleveland, like, you expect them to do this. Cleveland sucks. I had one of my Ryan Ermanni moments.
Oh, God,
with
the best.
Cleveland. But you know what I love about it is when I started Twitter, I was in Ohio. I was in Cleveland. So, like, I know whenever I say something about whether it's Ohio State or whether it's about the Cleveland Browns, I noticed that 225,000 followers, I know it goes like 225,000, like 220. I know 5,000 Ohio people dipped out.
I think for a lot of people, though, it is time to catch up on whatever you got to do inside your home to get through the next 2 days. Like, you know, I'll watch whatever my wife wants to watch, and I'll sit there and I'll be on my phone. But like last night, it was like 5:45, and we watched House of Dragon or whatever because I knew the 7 o'clock football game started.
That's awesome.
Or whatever, and it was good. That House of Dragon is a damn good show, man. If you watch Game of Thrones, man, it is a damn good show.
That last episode was chaos. I don't want to tell anybody if you haven't seen it, but episode 5 is absolute chaos. It is so many moving parts. It was really good.
Now, Ryan, did you start Breaking Bad yet?
No, I need to.
You watched Better Call Saul.
So Better Call Saul to me, and the reason why I didn't start Breaking Bad right away is because the way Breaking Bad ended, it was after Breaking Bad, or the way Better Call Saul ended was after Breaking Bad.
See,
so
you can't appreciate when Kim was out there with Jesse smoking a cigarette in the rain.
Totally,
you didn't know who that was.
I did right away.
But you can't really appreciate those guys with Saul looking back in the RV.
It's so
and he's
good.
like, wow, you're the guy that makes the blue stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I did. I know. We'll get right into it. But now it's football season, so it's so limited.
I get you. But I'm telling you, man, don't not see it.
I know. I want to rewatch the last 4 episodes of Saul too.
Do that after.
Yeah.
So yesterday I was actually at a golf outing before I came to work, and then I went back to the golf outing to do live auction for Jim Brandstatter. Brandy's out of town. He usually does his golf outing, so I was there to help. It was for Joseph Penrod, who has Duchenne's disease, which is muscular dystrophy.
Yeah.
Exactly. And your boy was
Shout
there.
out to
Matt was there as always.
Matty Riley.
They do an amazing job with the foundation, and we were doing the live auction. And this is Daryl. Daryl was a recipient of an award last year. Those power chillers, by the way, cost $65,000. So we were able to raise that money to help him get his chair and also him get a car. This is actually Joseph right here, Penrod. This is me doing my best to help him doing a live auction. But we were trying to raise some money. We were trying to take him over the top. We needed $2,500 for this one event. So we made a deal, me and Matt, from Killer Kowalski's Christmas.
Matt Riley.
And Michigan State fans, you'll only hear this one time, so it was 4 calls. It was good. Fletch, play the video.
You going to? No. Okay. That's a deal. We'll do it as a deal. All right, bet. We'll do it as a deal. You wear the Michigan hat, I'll say go green, he'll say go white.
Nobody take any pictures.
You already know they recorded this one. They've been waiting their whole life for this one. It's bigger than the school right now. You ready? You ready? Go green. Go red.
Go blue, number 17.
Hey, you know what time it is, go blue. But it wasn't about Michigan. It's about Michigan State and Joseph right now.
Look,
you're a great person, dude.
Those 2 kids are stronger than I ever will be. The young man, Daryl, is the black kid that was in the power chair, talking about graduated in digital technology as well as got his master's the other day. Joseph is in his sophomore year at Michigan State. Duchenne's disease. Look, man, we don't have any excuses. These kids are out here killing it. Excuse me. These young men are out here killing it in more ways than I could ever imagine, man. Support Duchenne's disease and actually just be a good human being. So I said go green because of that. It's the last time you ever heard me say that terrible phrase, but it was for a cause and it was for Duchenne's disease and Joseph and Daryl.
You're a good person, man. I'll do it too. Go green, baby. Good job, man. You don't have to say the other part. That's all right. You're a good, great person, Braylon. That's awesome. Making a difference.
Sure.
What a show today. Great show today. Get us out of here,
That
Bray.
went quick.
Woodwardsports.com.
You know what, Matt? You get us out of here. You get us out of
I
here.
will. I'll tell you. How many people we got watching? We had about 480 watching us at one time, almost 500. But we don't have the likes we need. So how about hitting that like button? Go right now on Woodward Sports. Hit that like button. And don't forget, woodwardsports.com. What a great website we have developed for you. Yeah. Tomorrow, it is a Wednesday, right in the middle of the week. We're going to come up with something for you. I have no idea what it is yet, but we are going to come up with something for you tomorrow.
Wacky Wednesday.
Join us 2 to 4 right here on Woodward Sports. The heavyweights coming up next for Braylon, for Ryan, for Fletch, and my man, Jeremy Bryant, Jelly Bean. It's Maz. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
I love it.